What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a little over a year now since I last reviewed arguably some of the best wireless headphones on the market right now, the Apple AirPods Max and the Sony XM5s. But obviously, since I've posted that video, a lot has changed. The Sony XM6s ended up releasing January of this year, but my main focus of today's video is to kind of do a follow-up video of my previous video comparing the AirPods Max and XM5s, especially now that Black Friday is around the corner and some of these headphones are gonna be on sale, and a lot of my opinions have changed over this past year since I've posted that video. So let's just dive into what makes both of these headphones so great and ultimately which one you should end up choosing. When it comes down to the price, obviously, since I mentioned that this video is going to go up during Black Friday week, some of these prices may vary, but right now you can currently find the Sony XM5s on Amazon for $248, which is roughly around 38% off MSRP. Then for the Apple AirPods Maxes, you can find these on Amazon for $399 renewed. And the reason why I'm looking at the renewed version is because in my last video at the time, the Gen 1s were the only AirPods Maxes that exist, so I'm going to be sticking to that one for this video as well. So that's roughly about a 70% off MSRP, and I'll be honest, that's still pretty steep for these headphones. We're roughly seeing a $151 difference between these two pair of headphones, so let's really find out if a higher price truly means better performance and better quality. Now when it comes to the design and comfort for these two pairs of headphones, for the Sony XM5s, they have an all-around plastic build with the ear cups and headband having this synthetic leather material. You might think that the plastic gives off sort of a cheaper look, but realistically, if you're going to be wearing these for a long period of time, you want something lightweight to avoid any kind of fatigue. Now for the AirPods Maxes, on the other hand, the ear cups are made of this aluminum material as well as the adjustable rod that allows you to adjust it to your head size. But for the ear pads themselves, they're made of this sort of like mesh material, which has made it a little bit trickier to clean from my personal experience. And the headband itself also has this really interesting mesh that's not super comfortable. And actually my wife's pair has started to kind of fall apart, as you can see here. But again, with having some of these more premium materials, you can expect a lot more weight to be on your head. It's also worth noting that both of these pairs of headphones don't fold inwards, rather they have rotating ear cups so that you can lay them flat on any surface. One thing that I've always really disliked about the Apple AirPods Max though is that it doesn't provide a true carrying case. You instead get this purse sort of sleeve thing that honestly doesn't really protect your headphones at all, especially with them being super expensive. But with Sony on the other hand though, you are truly getting a hard shell cover, which honestly looks really clean. But when it comes down to the functionality and some of the different gestures that you can do with some of these headphones, Sony has different tap and swipe gestures on the right ear cup that allow you to play, pause, skip, raise, or even lower the volume. And it's honestly crazy that I'm saying this in 2025, but they also have a physical power button on the actual headphones themselves, as well as an active noise cancellation and transparency mode physical button on the headphones as well. And probably my favorite part is that they have USB-C charging. In 2025, basically all of my devices are USB-C now, so this is super clutch. Now when it comes to the Apple AirPods Max, they have a dedicated crown that also allows you to play, pause, skip, raise, or even lower the volume, as well as the same active noise cancellation and transparency mode button. But with these, the only way to have them in sort of this sleep mode is by putting the AirPods Max back into the sleep, and then it enters like this like sleep mode. You really can't actually physically power down these headphones, which is kind of annoying. And then for the Gen 1s, unfortunately, you only have Lightning to charge these, but for the Gen 2s, you now have USB Type-C. But obviously, like I mentioned early on in today's video, Black Friday is around the corner, and there's some really good deals that you guys should be picking up. So I want to thank our sponsor for today's video, Elgato. If you're a creator, streamer, or if you're just obsessed with making your setup look as good as possible, you need to check these out. Elgato right now is running their Black Friday sales right now. And honestly, there's some insane discounts across the board, up to 30% off. And you can literally buy these items right now. Like for example, the entire Stream Deck lineup is on sale, whether that be the Mini, the regular, or the XL. And if you've never used one before, it's honestly a game changer for shortcuts, macros, or even switching scenes. Literally just all that stuff that makes your workflow so much faster. If you need things like lighting or audio gear, that stuff is on sale too, like the Keylight or the Keylight Neo, which both delivers soft and balanced light, which is gonna make your footage look so much better. And things like the Wave mic arm is perfect if you're going for a minimal and tidy setup. These deals are not gonna last for long, so if you're even considering upgrading anything in your setup, now is the perfect time to do so. I'm gonna have all this linked in the description below. Huge shout out and thank you to the Elgato team for sponsoring today's video. But now let's get back into it. When it comes down to the battery life on both of these headphones, I really don't have any complaints for either of them. The Sony XM5s have an advertised battery life of 30 hours and the Apple AirPods Max have an advertised battery life of 20 hours, which is something to for sure keep in mind of if you're going to be using either of these for a long period of time. But when it comes to the sound quality and mic on these headphones, both are incredibly nice. Neither of them are too bass heavy, and I feel like both are pretty even here. But from testing these two over the last year, I for some reason continue just kind of reaching for the XM5s. I just feel like there's some songs where the vocals just sound clearer on the XM5s than they do on the AirPods Pro Max. And the microphones are pretty decent here. They're nothing too crazy. They don't sound amazing, but they're pretty decent for both of them. But one thing I did want to note though is sound bleeding. And if you don't know what that is, sound bleeding is pretty much when you put a pair of headphones on and you have the volume raised up all the way up. The person that's next to you is going to be able to hear everything that you're listening to. And unfortunately, in this case, the Sony XM5s have terrible sound bleeding. As a consumer though, I think the user experience is also something super important to highlight, especially when it comes to buying super expensive pair of wireless headphones. But there's one feature on the AirPods Max that I absolutely love, and it's the continuous audio feature. And if you don't know what that is, it pretty much allows you to switch the input on your AirPods Max to pretty much any Apple device that you have. So let's say if I'm listening to music on my phone and I start playing a video on my MacBook, it will give me the option to automatically switch the audio to the video I'm watching on my MacBook, which is super convenient. And unfortunately, you won't be getting this on the Sony XM5s, but what you will be getting is actually an app for the Sonys, which give you a ton of customization. And I know a lot of people out there love to customize their EQs, so if you're into that, XM5s definitely has that. But when it comes down to my final verdict with these two pairs of headphones, if you guys watched my last video, I pretty much gave it to the Apple AirPods Max. But over this last year, I've honestly changed my verdict, and honestly, for the price right now, I would pick the Sony XM5s. And I think overall it just comes down to the comfort I get with the XM5s. I can wear these for so long, especially since I work from home. I like wearing headphones and I don't really have a problem with fatigue or anything when I have these on. The sound profile just sounds like a little bit better, and I'm able to charge these with USB Type-C, which is honestly a huge plus. So if you're looking for a great pair of wireless headphones this Black Friday or even after, I would highly recommend you pick up the Sony XM5s. But let me know what you guys think about my final verdict and which one of these are you going to be picking up this Black Friday. And like always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you all in the next one.